The GSLP-Liberals say the issue of Gibraltar's constitution is inextricably linked to decolonisation. The alliance says if re-elected, it would take a collegiate approach to constitutional reform, in consultation with the GSD and with the wider community.
So it's a two-stage approach. The first approach is entirely in Gibraltar, where we carry out this exercise between the parties, ideally in a select committee on constitutional reform. And then the second approach is the acceptance by the Gibraltar Parliament, obviously, of the report of that committee, and then having a negotiation with the United Kingdom government on the content of that report.
And in terms of the target of this work, is it the GSLP-Liberals' aim that if you're re-elected, that within the next term even, you would be able to present a new constitution to the people in a referendum, as you said today?
Well, bear in mind that this work really has been the victim of two important international events, and I know we keep on saying that, but it really is a reason, it's not an excuse. One is the pandemic, which derailed a lot of the work that all governments are doing everywhere, and the other one was the negotiations with the European Union on a future relationship with it. And in a sense, it's important that this work has waited, because obviously this will impact on whatever new constitution emerges. We need to see how we end up in a relationship with the European Union, whether we have a treaty or whether we don't have one. So all that is in itself interconnected, but a considerable amount of work on this subject has already been done.
And finally, you've argued that Gibraltar's constitution needs updating from 2006, but the GSLP-Liberals also go to the UN to argue that Gibraltar should be decolonised. So how do you square those two positions with the idea that Gibraltar is ready for decolonisation, but also that the constitution needs to go a bit further?
Well, the question we've always put to the Committee of 24, and we've put it since the new constitution was promulgated, is, well, what else do we need to do to this constitution to make it acceptable to you for decolonisation and for delisting and the removal of Gibraltar from the UN list of non-self-governing territories? And we haven't had an answer. Now, we know that the question of the powers of peace, order and good government, in other words, the UK having the power to legislate in Gibraltar above the heads of the elected parliament, or the parliament elected by the people of Gibraltar, is an issue. That is an issue in terms of the UN decolonisation. It's why it's one of the areas we've accorded priority to in the work we've done so far.
For his part, GSLP leader Fabian Picardo said the alliance would also want to look closely at the question of representation in Westminster. On the constitution, Mr. Picardo said the present one is 17 years old, older than the iPhone, and that it needs to be modernised for the present day.